recently President Obama and Al Gore have both come out aggressively against Fox News, Rush Limbaugh, and saying, look, they're influencing Republican politicians to be more and more extreme. Now, that's a point that seems nearly indisputable, even if you don't think they have overall a lot of power, and I'm going to argue against that in a second. You've got to at least admit that they are pushing the Republican politicians more to the right. And that's the point that Gore and Obama were making. But Howard Kurtz at CNN takes issue with that, and he's written a column asking them to stop whining. In fact, literally, he says, quote, my response, can we please stop the whining? Now, okay, first of all, that's the easiest trick in the world. Whenever you disagree with anybody, you accuse them of being a whiner. Okay. But let's go to the heart of the argument. So he says, quote, I never realized that the conservative media were so eye-poppingly powerful. So this is a dismissive tone. Come on, everybody knows the media is liberal. And so conservative media being powerful, that's so funny. Really? Well, let me give you a couple of examples. So for example, in the year 2000, I believe we had a little bit of an election, by the way, that involved Al Gore. And who was that election called by first? It's a fact. You can look it up if you like. Fox News Channel. They were the first network to call it for George W. Bush. Now, the reality, as we found out later, was that it was a statistical tie and it shouldn't have been called for either side. Do you know who Fox News had hired to call the election? The person in charge of calling the election was literally George W. Bush's cousin. And then what happened? The rest of the networks panicked. Again, you can go back and look at the tape if you like. You can PolitiFact it, check anything you like on this, okay? And the rest of the networks, after Fox News called it, said, oh my God, Fox News called it. We got to call. Okay, never mind. George Bush won. George Bush won. George Bush won. George Bush won. They all called it just like Fox News did because they don't want to be late. They don't want to be late. We already had a news network call the election. And the idea that George W. Bush had definitively won and Al Gore had lost, did that wind up affecting how things went down afterwards? A little bit. But no. Conservative media isn't eye-poppingly powerful at all, right? And then there was, of course, the Iraq War, where Fox News came out and waved the flag, and MSNBC fired Phil Donahue and everybody else. They waved the flag, and they followed Fox News. And look, go from 1996 to 2006, and Fox News ran the media. I know to people working in the establishment media, that is heresy. They think when you say that, they're like, oh, radical, oh, come on, don't be ridiculous. Everybody knows the media is liberal. Nonsense. Fox News would push one story after another into the mainstream of the media, and CNN and MSNBC would run behind it like lapdogs. Those three networks are in every newspaper office, they're in every radio office, they're in every local television office, and they all followed on Fox News. Now, things have gotten a little better. In 2006, Keith Olbermann does his famous special comments. MSNBC starts going to the left. The equation gets a little balanced out. Now, is Fox News still powerful? Look, they sneezed in Van Jones' direction, and Obama threw him overboard. They just looked at Shirley Sherrod the wrong way. She had to be pulled over literally to the side of the road and fired. Not fired, encouraged to resign immediately. So if you think that they're not powerful within the White House, well, you're not following the news, let alone their enormous influence over the GOP. All right, these things should be obvious to anybody following the news. Then Kurtz goes on to this next comment. Whatever you think of Fox, Rupert Murdoch's network has been a financial success, and current TV was anything but. Now, this is my favorite argument. Oh, well, Fox News worked. It was a financial success. So they must be right. They must be doing something right. And progressive media, you can't figure it out. I know. So wait, which one is it? Is all the media liberal? Or can liberals not succeed at all in media? Which one? They never clarify that point. Okay, so on to the issue of Fox News being so great. Well, they are. They're doing terrific in the ratings, right? Now, was it immediate? Of all people, Brit Hume said this. Fox News lost $90 million a year for the first 5 years and hence lost $450 million, nearly $500 million, before they turned a profit. Now, if Current TV or whoever else also had $500 million to invest, could they do well? The answer is yes, because look at MSNBC. They also have incredibly deep pockets, and look at that. Now they're incredibly successful. When people told me that, liberals will never succeed on TV and get ratings, I was like, I know, yeah, the country is at least 50% progressive, but somehow magically none of them watch TV. How painfully stupid is that? So it's a matter of having enough capital to make that investment. So now, in order to understand that you shouldn't take success in the ratings as a guide for who's right and who's wrong, let me give you two more points here. First of all, O'Reilly, who's been the leader in cable news for a long, long time, over a decade, has at his height, not anymore, but at his height, had over 3 million viewers a night. So let's do a quick math on that. 3 million viewers are exactly 1% of the US population. So the fact that they were able to super serve that audience and say to conservatives, hey, you know what? Okay, we're your guys. And they got 1% of the country to follow them. Does that mean that the country is conservative? No, it means 1% of the country is really conservative and loves Fox News Channel. Hey, look, I'll be unbiased in the sense that I'll tell you about us, right? Like, now look, these are positive numbers, so it's not a big deal that I reveal this, right? But I'm going to tell you why it doesn't mean that we're necessarily right. So, for example, the Young Turks, we have over 40 million views a month on YouTube alone. We've got over 100 million minutes viewed a month. Last month it was 103 million. And we have over 1 billion views in our network. If you combined all of the other conservative media and times it by 10 online, they would not equal the Young Turks. Now, does that mean that the Young Turks then are right about politics? Well, the country's obviously on the Young Turks side. Whatever the Young Turks says, it must be gospel because they're so much larger than the conservative online news outlets. No, it doesn't mean that at all. It means we do, I hope, an entertaining program and a lot of people watch it. But it's nowhere near 51% of the country, which, by the way, would be awesome. So stop with the specious nonsense arguments about, oh, well, Fox News does well in the ratings, so the country must be with them. Okay, and that's the only way you can succeed financially. Nonsense. Now, Howard Kurtz points out something else here. He says, Anita Dunn, then the White House communications director, called Fox the communication arm of the Republican Party and said it is not really a news network anymore. The resulting furor gave Fox months of fodder and was widely judged a tactical misstep. Okay, think about that, right? So why is that a tactical misstep? Fox News is not really a news network. Come on. Does anybody in America actually think that they are an unbiased news network, that they don't have a conservative slant to the news at all? Nobody in their right mind could possibly think that. If you ask conservatives, they don't think that. The only people who think that are the people that work in cable news. Now, why? Why would CNN and MSNBC, theoretical competitors to Fox News, want to continue that myth and say, oh, it was a misstep to challenge them on being a news network? Here's what you have to understand. A third, and this is roughly, and I worked in cable news, so I know, about a third of the people have already worked on Fox News. Now, these are the same producers and so-called reporters, etc., that are circulating in cable news on television, right? A third of the reporters, the producers, etc., already worked at Fox News. They might work there now, or they already moved out and they're now at MSNBC or CNN. I can't tell you the number of people that worked at Fox News that now work at MSNBC. I saw it, right? I'm not blaming them. That's just the reality, okay? A third of them think, well, maybe I might work there one day, so I better be cool about criticizing Fox News. Oh, they're a news network. They're definitely a news network. And at least a third, but in reality, at least 2/3 know someone in the industry that is a friend of theirs that works at Fox News Network. And they don't want to say, hey, Joe or Sally are propagandists that work for an arm of the Republican Party. They want to say, no, they're good, solid news anchors. I mean, their opinion shows on Fox News. But no, my friend, the producer, my friend, the reporter, is terrific reporter. No. I know he's taking money from Roger Ailes, who used to be, the chief propagandist for the Republican Party and is still the chief propagandist for the Republican Party, but on a much more efficient scale at Fox News. But I can't say it because my friend is there and I might work there, and 3 of my producers worked there earlier. That's why they defend Fox News. That's why they're the only people in the country that won't admit that obviously Fox News is conservative and wholly supports the Republican Party. The guys on cable news pretending to compete with Fox News. And then finally, I will give Howard this credit. He does get it right at the end. He said, but let's face it, these are cable channels with relatively modest audiences, and their impact is sometimes exaggerated inside the Beltway echo chamber. Well, that part is now finally true. It wasn't true from 96 to 2006, but right now the reason Shirley Sherrod, the Van Jones, etc., all those guys got thrown overboard is because President Obama and his White House is obsessed with Fox News, and they give them more power than they merit. Yes, they are influential in all the ways that I described. And yes, they influence the Republican Party to be much more radical and more right-wing. No one could dispute that in their right mind. But you're giving them more power by saying, oh my God, what did they say? Oh, what is Glenn Beck going to say? Oh, no, what's O'Reilly going to say? So what going to say? Glenn Beck was such a fool, he got thrown out by Fox News. But meanwhile, the whole time, the Obama administration was in a panic over what Glenn Beck was going to say. Stop it already. Stop watching Fox News Channel at the White House and keep reacting to them and keep going further and further right-wing to appease them, because you're giving them more power than they already have. So on that note, Howard Kurtz and I can agree.